Hope doesn't float. It anchors. And you know where it anchors? It anchors behind the veil. Ooh, we got to talk about this, boy. This could have been the whole sermon right here. Your hope, the hope that I'm telling you is real. It's not just positive thinking. It's not pie in the sky. It's tangible. It's real. There's evidence to back it up, to say that this is legit and you can count on it. You can take it to the bank. Why? Because hope doesn't float. It's an anchor, and the anchor went behind the veil. What veil? It's a picture of the temple. And you know what was behind the veil? See, you had the outer courts, you had the inner courts. Anybody was welcome in those old outer courts if they did it right. The inner courts, however, they were restricting it. And the further you got into the temple, the more restricted it was. In fact, behind that curtain, only one person could ever go, and they could only go one time a year. And when they went, they had to do it to the precise rule and regulation that God had pronounced. They had to put blood on objects. They had to dip themselves completely down into a basin of water, essentially an Old Testament version of baptism. They had to do all of these things. And it was so particular that they would wrap a rope around the high priest's leg when he went in, and he would try to do everything just right. But in case he messed up, nobody would be able to go in there and get him if he died, if he was struck dead for disobeying the Lord, so that they could then pull him out of there. That's how serious this was. So when it says that our hope, our anchor, went beyond the veil, went within the veil or behind the curtain, whichever translation you look at. We sang a song this morning. I don't know if you paid attention, but it was, our hope is holding, our anchor is holding within the veil in the midst of the storm. That's the lyric. Guys, you know what happens? You know what floats? All the stuff you see. All the crap that's going on. On the surface, that's what you focus on. That's what you see. But hope is down deep. Hope you don't see it. You see the crap on the surface, but what's going down underneath is going to determine whether you make it through the crap or not. So we need to know that this is not pie in the sky. This is Jesus, once and for all, going behind the curtain himself. Do you know when he died on the cross, what happened to that curtain? It was ripped completely in two. Do you know what happens when the big curtain that keeps everybody out of the presence of the Lord in the Holy of Holies rips? There's nothing to keep the presence of the Lord separated from the people of God anymore. Jesus, when he died on the cross, it says that curtain ripped, and this is significant. It ripped from the top down. Why? Because God did the ripping, not man. It would have went down to up if we were doing the ripping. But Jesus died on that cross, and that thing ripped because Jesus made a way for us to be in the presence of God. He didn't make a way to remove us from the struggle that is planet Earth. But he made a way for the struggle that is planet Earth to stay on the surface, but he gave us something deeper. He gave us a promise and a hope that goes behind the veil, something that we can bank on. And you go, Mac, how do you know? How do you know? That sounds like a good story, but how do you know? Here's how I know. It all goes back to the resurrection. It either happened or it didn't. It's either a fairy tale and a myth, or Jesus really did die and 3 days later came back from the dead and did something that Buddha couldn't do, that Muhammad couldn't do, that no other religious guru has ever done.